section. We're going to talk about our younger selves and essentially for the students that we've got in and that we know are waiting to watch the content when we go live next week. So what would you guys recommend in all your different areas of events being the best way to get into events? Because I guess you can sort of go down the university route or you can go down work experience or interns. What would, from your personal experiences, how would you say people can get into your areas?
When I'm looking at CVs, I always look at whether they've done an events management degree. It's definitely not a win or a lose. It shows me that they're clearly passionate about the subject. However, experience for me trumps everything else. So if they've done internships or work experience somewhere, or they've just, like I did, I came out of school and went straight into catering and hospitality. I think having an event management degree shows that you're definitely passionate and you want to do it, but I think experience in reality is a lot more effective.
Can I add to that as well? Because we used to take on interns. Very quickly, interns, companies use them in two ways. They either use them as very, very free labour, or companies like us used to employ them to actually do a job. And they used to get paid properly for doing that job. You get an awful lot out of your interns doing that. However, what we always found is that these tended to be third-year students. When they came on board, they had scratched the surface of what the world of events was all about. And those that shone were the ones who had actually gone out and got the experience, whether it was holiday work, bar work is one of the best places to get experience of what we do. I don't think our industry has to be based on somebody who's got an event management degree. It's got to be based on that personality. It's got to be based on somebody who's actually gone out there and actually physically touched it, cleaned glasses, cleared tables, whatever it might be. I think there is a natural progression about our industry that you get, which you can't truly succeed in our business unless you've covered all those areas or been exposed to them. And that purely comes through from experience.
You were saying earlier, I think the industry is definitely a place which it feels all inclusive rather than the opposite. And I think you mentioned, speaking from someone with much less experience in terms of enriching years, but I think finding a mentor is massively valuable for anyone, particularly in the industry. Like we talk about hospitality and events being so relationship driven, which it is, and finding that person that will give you the time, because that's certainly somewhere in an industry where I feel like the door's kind of always open for people. And finding that person, I guess, is important. If you can find that mentor that can guide you through with a bit more experience.
An extension from that as well is both my wife and I work with Sussex University and Brighton University because they have a hospitality or an events degree which connects to them. And they are looking for mentors. So if any students here work for a university which doesn't have a mentor system, I'd definitely suggest you do that because it is great. Now, as a mentor, you don't judge. It's the ability just to ask a question. And that's it. And ultimately that comes back to, it doesn't necessarily have to be inside that structure, but have somebody you can talk to.
Great. The previous company I worked with, I used to place students, and they were our placement students from university. And again, I worked with over 3 years. And it's very difficult when you interview, or it's quite simple actually when you interview a placement student. And again, they could be working in hospitality, they could be working in event management, it could be slightly related to events. But for me, when you're interviewing them, they haven't got a wealth of experience. So for me, it was just knowing if they could fit into the actual company that we were in, and if their personality was going to be what we could all build on within our team as well. So obviously they didn't have a huge amount of experience. But I would say as well, in terms of just going forward, everybody kind of wants to go for the biggest companies with work experience and with internships. Don't necessarily think that is the way forward, because that restricts you sometimes a little bit. Sometimes the kind of smaller agencies will let you grow a little bit more as well. You'll get more of a one-on-one experience.
There is something else that I'd like to add to that, and that's don't expect it all tomorrow. We live in a society where everything is instant. To actually progress and develop inside what we're doing, this industry, you need to have the exposure to it. You are honestly not going to be able to make a difference until you've got some mileage in your legs. So don't expect to walk into it and go, do you know what, I can do that £1.5 million gig for whoever it might be. It's not going to happen. And you've got to, it's the same for any industry, but just be aware that it does take time to get that experience, knowledge.
And it's not 9 to 5. You are going to give up your evenings. You are going to have to work and
Till you
attend
get to my
events.
age.
And then you
then you don't have to do it anymore.
but don't turn down any opportunity in terms of if you get invited to, you know, a networking event or a showcase or something like this, never say no to it, because there's so many things like this that were never around when I was at university. You know, it's so brilliant now that there's these opportunities. So you don't go into a job if you are an intern or even your first job and go, right, 5 o'clock, I'm clocking off, because there'll be times you'll be asked to go, oh, can you attend this event? And can you, you know, do you want to go along to this showcase? And again, you know, like we said before, it's sometimes most of the time it's free, and you know it's not the worst job in the world to do, but you've got to put that kind of effort and that sort of personality into it as well, and it won't always just be 9 to 5. And I think if you're in events, you really have to understand that no matter which sector you go into, that there are, you know, it's not always, you know, 5 days a week, you know, 24 hours a day. Obviously, no one can survive on that, but you really do have to have that drive for it and realise that it is, you know, going to have to put in a few extra hours every now and then as well. So.